Yo, if you guys ain't heard of me yet, my name's Lil OT. I come from Hamilton. I'm from Canada. I'm turning up this year. I'm be the biggest artist. Let's go. Yeah.
Halton police are investigating a fatal shooting outside a mall in Burlington. Officers were called to the Burlington Centre Mall's parking lot shortly after 10 o'clock last night. They found a 24-year-old man suffering from a gunshot wound. He was taken to hospital. That's where he was pronounced dead. The victim, identified as Omar Niaz Muhammad.
This is the story of a 24-year-old rapper from Hamilton, Ontario, who survived 52 bullets being fired into his family home. Became the first artist from his city to chart on iTunes Canada, accumulated over 10 million streams on his debut album while remaining completely independent, and was then shot and killed in a mall parking lot 1 week after warning young people that street life is not what they think it is. Omar Niaz Muhammad, known to the streets as Lil OT, left behind one of the most striking examples of independent hip-hop success and tragic loss to come out of Canada in recent years. February 9, 2026, at approximately 10:10 p.m., Halton Regional Police responded to reports of a shooting outside a restaurant at Burlington Centre Mall, and paramedics found Lil OT with a gunshot wound to the upper part of his body. Joseph Brant Hospital is where they rushed him, and that same hospital is where he was pronounced dead at 24 years old. Understanding why his death sent shockwaves through Canadian hip-hop requires understanding who he was, where he came from, and what he accomplished in such a short time. Complex, Hot 97, and The Source all covered his passing for a reason. This is the complete documentary of Lil OT. Understanding Lil OT starts with understanding where he came from, because Toronto wasn't his city. Drake's city, with its established hip-hop infrastructure, major labels, and global profile, sat roughly 70 kilometers northeast of where Lil OT grew up. Hamilton, Ontario was his home, a blue-collar city historically known for its steel industry rather than its music scene. When people discuss Canadian hip-hop, Toronto dominates the conversation and Hamilton barely gets a mention. That context matters because everything Lil OT accomplished came without the built-in advantages Toronto artists enjoy. No label ecosystem existed for him. No established network of producers and managers and A&Rs. No blueprint to follow. Creating everything from scratch was his only option. His family home sat in the Beach Boulevard and Wickham Avenue area of Hamilton's East End. Specific details about his parents, his siblings, and his childhood never made it into public records, though police reports connected to a 2023 incident confirmed 6 family members lived in the household. His exact date of birth remains publicly unconfirmed, but his age of 24 at death in February 2026 places his birth year somewhere around 2001 or 2002. Social media told part of his story through handles like @DirtyNorth_ on Instagram and DirtyNorth500 on Facebook and SoundCloud, all pointing to strong ties to Hamilton's North End. Dirty North Incorporated, his independent label, reinforced that identity completely. Pretending to be from somewhere else never interested him, and he repped Hamilton hard throughout his career. Canadian hip-hop slang typically uses OT to mean out of town, which likely referenced Hamilton's position outside the dominant Toronto scene. Being from outside the city that controlled the industry became his identity rather than something to hide. What stands out most is that throughout his entire career, Lil OT stayed fully independent and unsigned. Major labels never got his signature, established independents never got his signature, and everything he built came through Dirty North Incorporated, alone. His streaming numbers, his chart positions, his billboard in downtown Toronto, all of it came from an artist operating completely outside the system. Before Lil OT started making music, prison held him. Some reports indicate he spent approximately 18 months locked up on gun charges, though I need to be transparent here because this specific detail about the 18-month sentence comes from a UK outlet called Need to Know, and Canadian mainstream media has not independently verified it. That time frame deserves appropriate caution. What we know for certain is that his incarceration became the launch pad for his music career. Getting out meant doing what many rappers have done before him, dropping a track called First Day Out. Gucci Mane did it, Kodak Black did it, and T Grizzly's First Day Out launched his entire career with that simple premise. You get out of prison, you record a track about what you experienced and what you learned and what you're about to do now that you're free. Lil OT followed this template and dropped his debut single First Day Out shortly after his release. Nothing slowed him down from that point forward. February 5th, 2020 is when his Audiomack account came into existence, aligning with his earliest available releases and suggesting music started flowing around that time. First Day Out, Love Lost, Letter 2, My Dog, and Streetlights all appeared in 2020 as his first batch of singles. That timeline deserves attention for a moment. Going from incarceration to releasing music in 2020 and then dropping a debut album by January 2023 that would accumulate over 10 million streams represents a rapid ascent for any artist. For an independent one from a city with no music industry infrastructure, that pace becomes even more impressive. But that's getting ahead of the story, because those early years need examination first. Between 2020 and 2022, Lil OT kept grinding through singles, building a following on streaming platforms, and establishing himself in the underground Canadian scene. Raw autobiographical experience fueled his music rather than fictional street rap scenarios. Track titles like Violence, Highway to Hell, Angel of Death, and Trouble Child reflected a world defined by conflict, loss, and survival. Rapping about what he knew, what he lived, what he saw around him gave his work authenticity that listeners recognized. 2022 brought two notable singles in Greatest and Violence, both helping set up what came next. Critics and fans consistently described his sound as rooted in Canadian drill and street rap, drawing comparisons to artists like Doovie, Hood Baby Pepper, and Dope Boy DQ. What separated Lil OT from others was the specificity of his lived experience. Performing street life for a camera wasn't his approach because documenting it was, and that difference registered with listeners. Whether he could translate that authenticity into a full project remained the open question. Sustaining a 14-track album without filler would test him, and whether Hamilton could produce something resonating beyond its city limits stayed uncertain. January 13, 2023 answered that question definitively. 14 tracks across 33 minutes dropped on January 13, 2023 through Dirty North, incorporated under the title Jamesville. The name likely references a Hamilton neighborhood, though official confirmation never came. What did get confirmed was the album's accomplishment. Over 10 million total streams accumulated across platforms, a remarkable number for an independent artist from Hamilton, a city where a rap industry presence simply didn't exist. Breaking down individual tracks reveals the scope of success. Letter 2. My Dog surpassed 1 million Spotify streams on its own. Violence reached approximately 900,000 Spotify streams alongside 272,000 YouTube views. Trouble Child landed around 720,000 Spotify streams, and the music video for Believe It or Not hit 162,000 YouTube views. Superstar numbers these are not, but for an unsigned artist from Hamilton, they represent something powerful. Proof of concept emerged from these statistics, proving talent can emerge from anywhere in the streaming era, and that major label cosigns aren't required to build a real fan base. Dovey, an established figure in Toronto's drill scene, appeared on the tracks Ride With Me and Look At Me Now, and that collaboration carried strategic weight. Dovey brought credibility in the Toronto market, helping bridge the gap between Hamilton and the much larger Toronto audience. Perhaps the most significant marker of Jamesville's success was what it earned Lil OT, a billboard in downtown Toronto. An artist from Hamilton getting a billboard in Toronto amounts to more than marketing because it functions as a statement. Hamilton's foot forcing opened the door of a scene that had largely ignored it. Toronto rap stars reported that Lil OT became the first artist from Hamilton to trend at number 4 on iTunes Canada. Official chart data has not independently verified this claim, but if accurate, another milestone fell, proving Hamilton could compete. Throughout all of this, no label held his contract. No distribution deal existed beyond what he arranged himself. Dirty North Incorporated remained his operation, his team, his movement from start to finish. November 14, 2023 nearly ended everything for Lil OT. Approximately 52 bullets tore into his family home at Beach Boulevard and Wickham Avenue in Hamilton, while 6 family members occupied the house. 52 bullets, 6 people inside, and the odds of everyone surviving something like that sit astronomically low. And yet, remarkably, not a single person sustained injuries. The investigation revealed details that made the situation even more disturbing. Ahmed Isaac Hussain, a 23-year-old from Hamilton, was identified as the shooter. Multiple reports described Isaac Hussain as a former friend of Lil OT, who also worked in music. A former friend who knew the family, who knew the house, who made the decision to fire 52 rounds into a home where 6 people were living their lives. Months passed with Isaac Hussain evading capture until April 11th. 2024 brought his arrest after police caught him on a wiretap admitting to the shooting. His own words, captured by law enforcement, confirmed his involvement completely. December 2025 brought a guilty plea to discharging a firearm with intent to endanger life and possessing a firearm while prohibited. Prison currently holds him while sentencing awaits. Another detail worth noting involves separate murder charges Isak Hussain faces in the death of Shaden Storer, who was shot and killed in Hamilton before Christmas 2022. Other violence allegedly involved this same person. Clarity requires acknowledging that no public connection has been established between the 2023 drive-by at Lil OT's family home and his murder in February 2026. Entirely separate incidents with no relationship to each other remains possible, but the pattern of targeted violence surrounding his life proves impossible to ignore. Dangerous environments followed him throughout. Surviving the 2023 shooting changed Lil OT, and his own words confirmed it. A Six Entertainment interview posted around July 2025 garnered about 32,000 YouTube views and captured his reflection on what that experience did to him. His exact words were striking. "I don't even laugh the same," he said. "I can't even. A lot of stuff is different now. Like you're not the same person after that." A young man in his early 20s talking about how laughter feels different now, how things change permanently, how surviving something like that fundamentally alters who you are, deserves attention. The interviewer asked about the scariest day of his life, and his response revealed everything. Close death experiences, near-death experiences, shootouts, getting shot at, he listed. "I've never really been in like a crazy car accident, but a lot of shootouts though. Shootouts plural, multiple near-death experiences, all confirming the reality he navigated daily." A younger bro he'd recently lost also came up, a death that changed him profoundly. A separate interview directed by Wipe Down asked how families should cope with losing a loved one, and his answer stayed simple and direct. "Everybody copes different," he said. "Someone forced to confront mortality repeatedly emerges from these interviews. Someone who lost people close to him, someone who stared down his own death and walked away, carries that weight into everything. Music, worldview, interactions with people, all of it gets shaped by those experiences." Despite everything, music kept coming. Building kept happening. Stopping never became an option. Music continued flowing after Jamesville dropped. Singles like Ecstasy and Untouchable came in 2023. House Arrest Vibes arrived in 2025, and Ghetto Vibes, another collaboration with Duvi, landed on September 5th. Divi Tukstoshi, Div Desmit Pieshi. October 31st, 2025 brought his next major project, an EP called Written in Stone. 7 tracks created entirely with producer Kai Stone gave this project its identity. Every beat and every instrumental came from one producer, lending the EP a cohesive sound and representing a more focused artistic approach. Track titles like Survivor's Guilt, War Stories, and You and I, Old School Vibes, told their own story. Processing trauma through music defined what Survivor's Guilt and War Stories accomplished. Working with Keksai Stone showed artistic growth in action, locking in with one collaborator to create something unified rather than scattering across multiple producers and sounds, suggested thinking about craft in more sophisticated terms. A 14-song album called Invisible Scars occupied his active attention at the time of his death, teased on Audio Mac as his next major project. 14 tracks, another full-length album, more documentation of his life and experiences planned. What Invisible Scars would have sounded like remains unknown forever. Which stories he planned to tell stays uncertain. No announcements have emerged about whether the album will be completed and released posthumously as of this recording. That material exists somewhere on hard drives, in sessions, in rough mixes, but its fate remains a question mark. Approximately 1 week before his death, Lil OT gave what became his final interview, and a warning emerged from that conversation. His words carry weight now. "A lot of these young boys joining the streets think it's fun out here," he said. "It's not fun out here." A 24-year-old who had survived prison, survived 52 bullets, survived multiple shootouts, lost friends to violence, looked at younger people entering that life and tried to communicate truth to them. Not fun. His exact words. Bravado common to street rap was absent from this statement. Glorification wasn't present. Someone who had lived it, who had paid the costs, who had watched people die, spoke directly to the next generation. 7 days later, a parking lot held his body. Tragic irony saturates the ending. A man who had survived so much, who was actively warning others about dangers. He knew firsthand, who said he didn't laugh the same anymore. Shot and killed in a mall parking lot at 24 years old. What we know about that night requires careful examination. Monday, February 9th, 2026, at approximately 10:10 p.m., brought reports of a shooting to Halton Regional Police at Burlington Centre Mall, located at 777 Guelph Line in Burlington, Ontario. The parking lot outside Kelsey's Original Roadhouse restaurant served as the location. An eyewitness inside a nearby restaurant spoke to CP24 and described hearing 3 shots and commotion. Going outside revealed Lil OT wounded, and this witness applied pressure to Muhammad's wounds until paramedics arrived. A neck wound appeared to the eyewitness, though police officially described it as being in the upper part of his body. Joseph Brand Hospital received him by ambulance. Pronouncement of death followed. 2 suspects fled in a white SUV that was later found abandoned and set on fire in the city of Hamilton. The CP24 eyewitness also reported seeing someone get into a black SUV simultaneously. February 13th, 2026 brought police release of surveillance footage showing a dark-colored compact SUV observed near the scene. Public assistance in identifying the vehicle and its occupants became the request. Constable Jeff Dillon of Halton Regional Police delivered several statements at a press conference on February 10th. "We do believe this was a targeted incident, and we do not believe there is any known risk to public safety," he stated. "Unfortunately, one young man lost his life," he continued. "When you are in a wide-open parking lot like this and a gun is fired, it was lucky that nobody else was struck. It shows a rampant disregard for anyone else who may have been here." Targeted incident translates from police language as not random. Whoever shot Lil OT arrived with intention. Robbery wasn't the motive. A dispute escalating in the moment wasn't the cause. Premeditation drove the killing. 1 week after the shooting, as of February 16, 2026, no arrests had been made. Police investigation into the motive, the suspect's relationship to the victim, and any potential links to prior incidents continues. Burlington's first homicide of 2026 happened that night, only the second shooting in the Halton region that entire year. Immediate and widespread response followed Lil OT's death. Major hip-hop outlets covered his passing across the board. Complex ran a story, Hot 97 reported on it, and Hot New Hip Hop, All Hip Hop, and The Source all published pieces. Canadian outlets including CP24, CBC News, Global News, and CHC covered the incident prominently. The Source described him as a young voice in Canada's independent rap scene, whose career was still unfolding. Still Unfolding captures something essential because he was 24 with 1 album and 1 EP to his name. Jamesville was only 3 years old. Building phase defined where he stood. Streaming numbers showed the impact immediately. Spotify monthly listeners surged from approximately 10,000 to 34,300, a roughly 3.4 times increase following the common post-death listing. Nostalgia. When an artist dies, people unfamiliar with their music seek it out, while those who knew it revisit everything. Instagram followers grew modestly from around 27,000 to approximately 29,000. RTN Toronto's breaking news tweet about his death pulled 236,600 views, 840 likes, and 199 reposts. A funeral around February 14, 2026 was documented by RTN Toronto on social media. Tributes flooded his Instagram from fans. "City needs to do better. This kid was not a threat. R.I.P." one wrote. "Remember bumping this my freshman year, man. R.I.P." another posted. YouTube comments carried similar weight. "These streets got no good ending." Long Live OT appeared among them. "No good ending from the streets." His fans understood what happened and understood the life he navigated, mourning accordingly. No specific tributes from major artists have been publicly documented as of this recording. Dovey, his most prominent collaborator, has not been found to have commented publicly. Posthumous releases, foundations, scholarships, and memorial events remain unannounced, though his death occurred only 1 week before this research was compiled, leaving time for these things to develop. Invisible Scars and its status as an unfinished album stays uncertain. Whether that material will ever reach the public remains an open question. Prison to independent success to violent death at 24 traces a pattern tragically familiar across hip-hop. Young artists with genuine talent and authentic stories get cut down before fully realizing their potential time and again. Place distinguishes his story from many others. Toronto didn't claim him. Atlanta, Chicago, and Los Angeles didn't either. Hamilton did, a city with no established rap infrastructure, a city the music industry largely ignored. And from that overlooked place, he built something from nothing. A label in Dirty North Incorporated, a billboard in downtown Toronto, a charting album, 10 million streams, an iTunes chart placement, all independent, all on his own terms. Proof that talent can emerge from anywhere in the streaming era came through his existence. Old gatekeepers in the form of labels, radio stations, and A&Rs in New York and LA no longer control who gets heard. An artist in Hamilton can put music on Spotify and SoundCloud and Audio Mac and reach listeners directly. Lil OT executed exactly that strategy. His story also reminds us that success doesn't equal safety. Streaming numbers offer no protection from the environment you came up in. Surviving 52 bullets doesn't make you invulnerable to the next attempt. His final interview's prescience stands as the most striking detail. A young man who survived that drive-by shooting at his family home, who openly discussed shootouts and losing friends, who warned others that street life is not fun out here, dead within months of saying those words. No moral lesson neatly resolves what happened. No easy takeaway makes sense of a 24-year-old shot in a parking lot. What exists is a body of work, an album exceeding 10 million streams, an EP documenting survivors' guilt and war stories, songs capturing a specific life in a specific place. Whether Invisible Scars ever sees release may shape how his musical legacy develops. Whether future artists from Hamilton cite him as inspiration matters. Whether his story becomes cautionary tale or proof of possibility stays undetermined. Both roles fit him for now. Independent ambition and what one person can build without industry support define one reading, while the violence that continues to claim young artists before their potential fully emerges defines another. Omar Niaz Muhammad, known as Lil OT, born around 2001 or 2002 in Hamilton, Ontario, died on February 9, 2026 in Burlington, Ontario. His short career held accomplishments many artists never reach: an independent operation built from scratch, an iTunes chart position, Hamilton on the map, over 10 million streams on his debut album, collaborations with established artists, a billboard in downtown Toronto, and all of it came without signing away ownership or control. Experiences that would have broken many people also marked his path. Prison, 52 bullets fired into his home, multiple shootouts, the loss of friends, and through all of it, music kept coming. Documenting his life continued. Communicating something real to listeners remained his focus. His final message, delivered approximately 1 week before his death, warned young people considering street life directly. A lot of these young boys joining the streets think it's fun out here, he said. It's not fun out here. Living it gave him knowledge. Barely surviving it multiple times gave him perspective. And the life caught up with him anyway. His killers remain at large as of this recording. Halton Regional Police continue investigating, and anyone with information about the dark-colored compact SUV seen near Burlington Centre Mall on the night of February 9th, 2026 should contact authorities. 24 years old was his age at death. All major streaming platforms carry his music still. Jamesville, written in stone, his singles and collaborations all remain available as documentation of a life ending far too soon. Long live OT.